my sword, and I'll come for your throat. You'll get yourself rammed if you fuck with a goat. You're a bunch of kids, and class is in session. I'll take you all down without an ounce of discretion. Bear witness to one hell of a body of work. Hell in a cell out my shell when I go berserk. Hall of Famer, yeah, I got the socks. They're minerals, Marie, they ain't rocks. Breaking the bad from the ugly, and always sounding good. Class action suits, all under the hood. I'll split the case open, your ass will be mine. Sweep it up the floor, leave you deaf, dumb, and blind. Cause when it comes to interrogation, we do the torturing kind. And if you're hearing this thinking that it's a threat, no, you daft cunt, you're just getting wrecked. See, while I'm pressing F, cheeky, inspect. You're left pressing F to pay your respects. Got more one-liners than that little lizard Gex. You can bank on that while I'm cashing the checks. Richard, 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 Richard fucking Lewis! Breaking news ain't easy, neither's breaking hearts. They call me Houdini, it's where the magic starts. Fuck around and find out, try to run your mouth. Things going south, big bad with blowing houses down. Yours is next if you acting like a clown. Do the right thing, you best skip town.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us. Both of us.
They could buy power, but they couldn't buy silence. RL on the case, things might get violent. When he puts you in the cuffs, you best go silent. Being read Miranda rights while he's running advertisements. No matter what happens, he's making that bread. Wouldn't break it with you, he'd be better off dead. A man with integrity, who's both salty and sweet. Me, I'm just a pussy, but you are what you eat.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad day. Harry writing songs about me, which is always nice. What a strange day it's been. My day started today very early, so I'm literally doing this stream before I go to bed. I had to get up and prepare because I was talking at an event that's being held in Florence at the School of Transnational Governance. And I was a guest speaker in a series of seminars about the integrity of sports called The Existential Crisis of Sports Governance, Corruption, and Match Fixing. So I had to get up and prepare for that, you know, because I had to explain to a bunch of people that probably don't even know what esports is, what esports is. So I was doing that. And I can't talk too much about it because we all agree not to talk about it because it's all like, you know, they have people who are involved in match fixing talk about it, you know, like whistleblowers and all this other stuff. So I was doing that today. I did like a 1-hour presentation on all the problems with esports and then spent a bit of time talking to law enforcement agents and people that are running investigations in mainstream sports, right? I'm trying to bring people in, you know, I'm trying to bring people in to fix esports for when I'm gone. Because obviously the plan, the exit plan, right? It's still there, you know. So obviously now it's out that I'm working the major. We've had that announced today. And obviously this all ties in to the master plan, right? Which is to basically go out on a high, which by doing a big CS event and then transition into academia, get a book deal and live off the royalties and then like get the log cabin and just fuck up. Obviously when PGL came around and hit me up, you know, I was like, okay, this all sort of aligns. I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna talk about just a bunch of stuff. I wanted to just throw the stream on today because, like I say, not for a long period of time or anything, because I just you know, there's obviously going to be some strong reactions and people talking about, you know, Richard doing the major or you know, the announcement. A lot of excitement, right? Because it's a strong lineup. Some people not as excited, and obviously there is the elephant in the room that some people have been passed over. And one of the things I hate about having to talk about talent is if you say someone should be there, the implication is that someone who is there shouldn't be, and vice versa, you know. It's fraught with peril. Let's rewind before I get into all of that. Let me tell you what I hate and what I've always hated in esports. Talent announcement. I hate it. I hate it. I've hated it for years. I hated it at E-League. I asked them not to do it. I've never liked it. And I'll explain why. First of all, when you do a broadcast, how it just used to be back in the day in esports is you just tuned in and whoever was doing it was doing it. If you wanted to personally announce it on your socials, and keep in mind, this is back in the day when, you know, your socials was a Team Liquid forum post or something. You know, that was fine. But the way that it's become this kind of like part and parcel of the broadcast, and what we're doing essentially is, as a tournament organizer, we're doing two things simultaneously. One, we're telling you in advance, look at all these cool people with their brands that we've hired. And you like them, don't you, fellow kids, you know? And then the other thing we're doing is we're testing the water for how well these people are liked in the community, and, you know, whether or not, if there's a particular backlash or naughty tweet surfaces. We're kind of fishing for that when we do that. And you shouldn't put people through that. It's really unpleasant. The worst days. So when I was doing broadcasts on the reg, just to sound like fucking Kenny Powers for a moment, for no reason. When I was doing broadcasts on the motherfucking reg, beers on the reg, coke on the reg, when I was doing them on the reg, the worst day was talent announcement day. It was the worst day, because all of your haters are going to be there telling you you're shit and you don't deserve it. And also, what talent announcements do is they pit talent against talent, and they can't help but do that. And you're going to say, well, how does that work? Well, so here's how it works. I get asked to host a major. I say yes. I think I'll do an okay job. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But obviously, you could ask somebody else to do the major, and I'm sure somebody else has an idea about somebody else who could do a good job at the major. And so they gravitate towards the talent post. And they say, fuck you, Richard. Or, fuck Richard. It should be Machine, or it should be Shocks, or, you know, whoever. And this puts you in the position where I'm defending my inclusion, not on its own merits. I'm defending it against the other choice. And so I can give you a real-life example of this, you know. Me and Alex obviously squashed. It wasn't even a beef. It was just egos and pettiness, really. One of the reasons me and Machine fell out for a while was because he did a tweet saying, oh, I haven't done a major in ages, because I think I'd done all the E-League majors, right? And obviously, if E-League got a major, I was working it. And so Alex was like, I haven't hosted a major for a while. And obviously, all of his fans come over to me like it's my fault. And so I'm like, Alex, that makes you a cunt, mate. And that was really harsh and unfair. But it gets on top of you, because you're constantly in this position where you're having to justify your work and justify being hired to do the job that you do. And I don't need to justify it. The only decision that matters effectively is the hiring person. They've made an assessment. They've made the decision. That's all that really matters. They're not going to walk a decision back, no matter how much chatter is on social media. They might not hire you again in future. They might find something that makes it so they have to quietly push it to one side. But in general, you're not going to walk a decision back just because the community doesn't like it. So you end up in this situation where you're arguing with your peers and your equals and your colleagues, and you don't really want to do that. You're going to be working with these people. I mean, look, this sounds kind of sad and tragic, and it's not anything I would have publicly admitted a few years ago, but I just don't give a fuck anymore. You can just judge me as the man I am, not what I'm showing you. And that is that I'm really close to all my esports friends. Like, they are like a family. It's a cliche, but to me, it's true. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't plan on any of that. I've lost the person that was closest to me in the whole world. My esports friends were there for me through that. So I'm very close to a lot of them. And I don't like having to argue. I don't like arguing with them by proxy. I don't like arguing with them through other people on social media. You know, I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel nice. People are messaging me today, Harry and Hugo should be there. Mate, yeah, there's not a single person in the top tier of CS I would leave out right now, you know. It's like, there's only limited spots. There's always limited spots on a broadcast. And it's up to the people that are doing the hiring that choose to fill them. Now, if I'd not been asked, you just wouldn't have heard a peep out of me. I didn't even expect it. Keep in mind, I went into retirement because I was super paranoid about getting domed, and then just fucking got into a place where I don't even care about being domed. I don't know if that's better mental health wise or whatever. But, you know, I'm willing to go back and risk things to do a good job in an industry I care about, where I wasn't 2 years ago. But, you know, I wouldn't have piped up at all. I wouldn't have said anything. And like, to the point, seeing a lot of people going like, what's Richard Lewis done to deserve it? You know, I could come on this and I could put a video out or, you know, tweet about how fucking great I am and how I was the first ever host to do a TV show and all this shit. Here's the truth. I don't deserve it. I don't. I've not been active for years. My best work is obviously in the past. There's an amazing crop of hosts out there right now. I mean, you get the same, if not a better event, if you hire a Shocks, if you hire a Golden Boy, if you hire a Puckett, right? You know, Frankie, Stunner, you know, I'm not going to lie. Deserves such a nonsensical concept when it comes to this. This is part of the problem, I think. This is part of why you get a lot of talent that end up being really down on themselves and really hard on themselves and feeling like they've failed when they don't get hired. I talk to a lot of talent behind the scenes about this, you know. People ask for feedback. I was just talking to Darth Mike about his hosting gig that he was doing. I sent him a little recording of like tips and how I do it and see if it would help him. But, you know, a lot of people feel like when they don't get hired for a gig, it's like a reflection on them rather than almost like in esports, like the talent pool is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, I mean, you have to understand there are a handful of jobs essentially, and we've got so many highly skilled individuals. There's always going to be some broken hearts. And the problem is it's not even necessarily something you as talent can fix, because it's just about a choice made by the tournament organizers. It's like casting a movie. Like, I remember, okay, Lord of the Rings. I remember when they announced Sir Ian McKellen as Gandalf, and the original talk at the time was it was going to be Sean Connery. And I was like, it has to be Sean Connery. It must be Sean Connery. In my mind, Gandalf was Sean Connery was Gandalf. And then, obviously, they didn't get Sean Connery. And they announced Sir Ian McKellen. And I was like, oh, that fucking blows. This is going to suck. Who the fuck's this guy as well? Viggo Mortensen, who's he? And of course, obviously, they did a great job casting. You couldn't imagine better actors for those roles, right? That isn't to say tournament organizers always make the right choice. But, you know, I think by and large, they know what vision they want to execute, and they bring in people they think are appropriate for that. And equally as well, there are people who get hired and you sort of roll your eyes a little bit. But you don't know what the working relationship's like behind the scenes. You don't know what shorthand they have with production staff and things like that. It's like a shame when you don't get included if you sort of put that pressure on yourself to be the person that gets hired. And if you take the yardstick of your success as to whether or not you get hired for the event, yeah, you're going to be disappointed. It's kind of almost like there are a limited number of people who are going to get incredibly lucky. And, you know, I've been one of them, like massively so, because, you know, you rewind to like 2010, 2011, I was literally being told by people in the industry I had no like charisma, no inherent charisma, which might still be true. I had no camera presence. And that I was like just too divisive and, you know, unpleasant to put into a broadcast. I mean, that's what I was being told essentially. And, you know, I didn't think I would be doing it. And then I got incredibly lucky and was able to snowball it all the way to a TV job. Now, again, it comes back to that word deserve. I mean, did I deserve any of that? I can't even pretend either. I mean, I worked hard for it, sure. But I can't even pretend that. For example, me being the host of E-League and not somebody like Puckett, I mean, I can't sit down and justify that to you guys. I can't sit down and say, well, yeah, I'm definitely the right man for the job. Arguably, I'm not the right man for that job. American TV show, you're putting some fucking overweight, and by overweight, I mean when I was on American TV, I looked like Quasimodo, mate. The southern food hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. And, you know, I ballooned up to like 255 pounds, you know? And so I was the face of esports. And what a wretched, chubby little face it was. Whereas Puckett is one of the most clean-cut, good-looking, wholesome, all-round nice, talented, affable, personable guys. So why wasn't it him? I still don't know to this day. Could have been the fact my agent worked for the company that was doing it as a joint venture. I mean, probably was, right? So I think I did a good job at E-League. I'm proud of the work I did. But yeah, maybe I didn't deserve it, you know? And so we get back to that word, deserve. And it's like, I don't know, it's such a fucked up double-edged blade to be swinging around because, as I said, the problem with talent announcements are you can't say someone else should be there without the implication being someone who is there shouldn't be. And so it's like, what I want is I want all the people who've been hired to, you know, I want everyone to be completely positive, completely focused on the job that we're going to do. And I'll be honest with you guys, because I always am, sometimes that hasn't always happened at majors. Sometimes we've had little dramas and little frictions in the background. Not everyone has been necessarily pulling in the same direction, let's say. I'm not going to talk about this, that, the other, which is what everyone wants, you know, me to do, because I want everyone who's there and is gonna, and everyone who's there is like talented, right? I mean, we all agree it's a pretty strong fucking lineup in terms of talent and depth of talent, right? Because this major's like mega important, right? Like, I don't want any drama around it. Wouldn't it be nice to just go to a fucking CS tournament now, enjoy the games, watch the games, have epic moments, have a crowd reacting to them all, tell a nice coherent story from beginning to end, no drama, no cheating, no bullshit, no fucking politics being injected in it. I just think that's what we need more than like anything right now. You do, and I hope everyone understands that no matter how well this major goes, like, we're still facing a mad existential crisis for the future of the game. There's going to be more scandals and nightmares and other stuff coming down the pipe. That's not going to go away. So this has to be like a little island of fucking sanity among all the nonsense, where we can just enjoy the event and the event specifically. I'll say this hand on heart, right? I'm obviously honored to do this major. There wasn't a lot of discussion, frankly, when it was offered to me. I wasn't expecting it to be offered to me. Even when it was offered to me, I'm the kind of guy to try and talk myself out of things. Like, wouldn't you rather have so-and-so? And, you know, they wouldn't rather. They want me. And so I'm going to say yeah, and I'm going to do it. And, you know, hopefully it goes over well enough with everyone. And if it doesn't, if I fuck it up, I'll own it. I always do. Own my shit. So I guess the only thing I would say in a sort of broad context is we're like, for me, I don't really envision a future where I come back to doing like esports events regularly, no matter how well this goes or how fun it is. This for me is probably my swan song. It's like my last event, right? That was another reason why it's like, it's cool to get, yeah, I know it's the boomers. Yeah, I know we're all the fucking boomers. Yeah, I know. Like, I said it to Harry and Hugo directly, like, when I worked with them at the RMR. And obviously it applies to my good friends Scrawny and Launders as well. You know, you guys are the future. It's like the idea you're going to go your entire careers without doing the big events. It's just silly. It won't happen. It won't happen like that. And I know it's always disappointing on the day, but mad credit and mad respect to the way everyone's kind of carried it. Like, I've been there, man. Like, one of the things that always pisses me off about TI, right, the international, is they have this huge talent pool. In fact, actually, let me frame it another way before I give specific examples, right? Everybody in esports is given, if you're broadcast talent, you are given the test. And here's what the test is. It's not a deliberate test, but it's just a test. It's this test. You work really fucking hard, and you're really fucking good, and everyone fucking loves you. You've got the peak of it all. You've got the ability, you've got the presence, and you've got the popularity. You've got the crowd on your side. You've got the power of God and anime behind you, right? And then a big event comes around, and they hire everyone but you. And you're like, wait, what? How does that work? Now, you have been plunged into the test, and what a lot of talent, because we're all egotistical on some level, what a lot of talent will do is they'll go public and they'll do a tweet and they'll go, well, this is outrageous that I didn't get hired for this event. Can't even believe it. Don't even know what more I can do. That's always the worst play. Even if it's true, even if you're right, even if it makes you feel good, because the TOs, all the hiring people see that and go, I'm not a team player. It's bullshit that they say that. It shouldn't be an indictment on you, but it's the reality. It's what happens. And so every fucking TI, someone's fucked up and done that. And I just shake my head. The last thing you want to be doing is essentially distancing yourself from the potential to work an event because, you're upset you didn't get to work one. And it's just a piece of advice I'd give to all potential broadcast talent. There'll be people of you in the chat right now who don't even know you're going to be broadcast talent 5 years from now. So heed this. Don't fail that test. And I'll give you a wicked example of someone who passed the test. Bcup over in Dota. He should have been at TI, right? If you ask me. That's my opinion. If I was making the hire, he would have been in. And he's worked his nuts off. Didn't get it. And there was a load of threads on Dota about what an outrage it was. Again, pitting talent against other talent. Why is this guy here? Well, but forget him. What about this person? And what about that person? And then the other talent are going to see that, and they're going to be like, wow, Bcup fans fucking hate me. This sucks. And you create this weird world. But, he just did one tweet and just said, listen, it's fine. Maybe next time, it's cool. And that, unfortunately, got to bottle it up inside and kind of take it on the chin because the law of averages in this job, there's way more disappointments than, positive days. That's just the sad reality. And, of course, all done with the knowledge. Eventually, you get too old for this business. Eventually, you have to go off camera. Eventually, you get fat. You get bald. You're a boomer. You don't understand the latest games. It's a real young industry. For me, this moment in CS, this is the passing of the torch, guys. I think it won't just apply to me. I think there'll be other people on this broadcast you probably won't see again. And you should cherish the people that are coming through, It's sad to see people focus on negatives. And I know I'm a guy that traditionally focuses on negatives. But, go and show Maniac some love. I mean, it's his first major. He's, killing it. He's, him and Yanko are the two best analysts in the scene, hands down. One of the smartest dudes, one of the nicest dudes, one of the most hard-working dudes. And because of this obfuscation of the other stuff, it's he's not getting the shine and the love that he deserves. He can't enjoy it as much as he should. That's another aspect to this. There'll always be something that people don't like about a talent hire, about a broadcast talent, assembly. There's always going to be one or two people that you personally, preferentially don't like. And that's fine. It's just how it is. When I listen to sports, there's certain commentators I like and certain commentators I don't like. I struggle with Jonathan Pearce, but he's incredibly popular. So is it a me thing? Is it a him thing? Is it a broadcast thing? I don't see swathes of people attacking the BBC for hiring him or whatever. And yeah, it's just crazy, man. It's just what'd be cool is if to praise somebody else, you didn't feel compelled to put somebody else down. You didn't feel compelled to make direct comparisons. You just went. And it's listen, you don't like Richard Lewis being there? That's fine. I don't give a fuck. I'm big enough and ugly enough to fucking take that on the chin. You don't like Thorin being there? That's fine. Right? That's good. You're not going to enjoy our boomer banter. And oh Lord, Duncan's coming, isn't he? Right? And that's fine. But talk about the people you do like. you know? Go and tell Maniac he's sick at his job. Go and tell Yanko he's sick at his job. Go and tell Moses you're glad to see him back after a real tough, existentially depressing time over at Team Liquid. You know, be supporters. You don't have to be, right? I can't compel you to do it. But like I say, I mean, CS is in a weird fucking spot, guys. And I just want the major to be good. And I want the major to be good, and I want everybody to do their best work. I'm 100% committed to doing that. I'm not going to slouch or cut corners. I'm not going to fucking scrimp. I'm already working on it. I'm already working out. I'm already trying to lose weight so I don't look like a fucking something that would get shot in Akira while someone screamed, Tetsuo! Right? I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to make it as cool and as good as possible. I'm gonna try and do my level best to make it a good event, a great event for everyone, you know. There's another thing, I don't like engaging with this stuff because there's no right or wrong to this, but I guess we're here, so why not? Obviously there people have noticed a theme of the talent hires, right? So this is a tweet that encapsulates a subset of viewpoints about the talent lineup announcement. And yeah, this is from Jonas Gunderson, who is the COO of NIP. He's pointed to the talent lineup, and of course, there's one person who isn't a white male, and so there looks to be a massive focus on diversity. Come on, esports, it's 2021. We can do a lot better than this. It's the biggest CSGO event there is. The whole world is watching. Disappointing. For the people who have been hired, there is obviously, you want to lash out. And I think some of the guys did reply. I think I saw Sponge reply and a few others. And, you know, I'm not going to do that. Here's the reality, right? People can express opinions in terrible ways and still have a point. And people can also have a differing opinion and have a point. I don't think there's any particularly right and wrong way to negotiate this. My strong opinion about this is obviously, like, I think, you know, I'm a meritocracy guy. I lean more towards that side of the argument. But equally as well, the people who are making that argument are presupposing that there aren't people that could easily do some of the jobs of the other people on there who happen to be women. And I think that is true. Again, we come back to the choice of PGL wanting to hire certain people, and I can't deny anyone on that list their place, right? Everybody has done something exceptional to earn it. But as I said earlier, I think if you put Shocks in as a host, for me, or Frankie, I know she's at TI, and she just did a tweet saying she's in her third trimester, so she's got plenty on her plate, or Freya, right? I think you get a great major. I think I'm superfluous in a lot of ways. Like I don't feel like I'm an essential part of the apparatus. You know, I honestly, if it stopped a drama, I'd let them have it. You know, and they would fully deserve it, and they'd fully deserve to be there. I just don't like the problem you've got now. Obviously, is this Jonas guy is well-meaning, but now the implication is, let's say PGL hired a woman. Let's say I said, oh, look, I am old and tired. Can we get another host? Bring Freya in. She's great, right? Or bring Shocks in. She's great. Or bring Frankie in if she can. And now everyone's going to say it's a diversity hire. It's ticking a box. And that is a terrible feeling. It is a terrible feeling for talent to think that they don't deserve to be there for all of the reasons I've just listed. So when you do this framing publicly, it's like so fraught with peril. It's so fraught with peril because nobody wins. Nobody wants a job on the basis, like the people who get the jobs don't even want the jobs. Nobody wants a job on the basis that they're ticking a box or deflecting criticism. And it just sucks that we're now going to do this go around and go back and forth. I think there's plenty of women that could have been part of this broadcast team. I'm surprised some of them aren't, just in terms of, I think they've been way more ubiquitous. But again, I can only talk about myself. If I hadn't have been asked and someone like Freya was hosting this major, I'd be traveling to Sweden and hanging out with the fans and hanging out with all of my friends and cheering everybody on and wishing them a good broadcast. It wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. It wouldn't affect me whatsoever. And it would be a completely valid pickup based on the past 2 years. But the other aspect to this is, and you know, I want to just point this out. I don't like what they've done here with the white male thing. I think it's like really reductive and not helpful to getting people's buy-in for thinking about things in a broader global context. It really pisses me off because there's so many assumptions about this. And this doesn't even feel like a Swedish idea. It feels like this American nonsense. Now, to be clear, the term black is woefully inadequate to describe the diversity of Africa. African American is woefully inadequate a term to describe the diversity of Africa, a country with hundreds of languages and different ethnicities and different backgrounds. And so you wouldn't say, you know, if I had a Ghanaian, a Malian, a Nigerian, a Ugandan, you wouldn't go, oh, you've hired all black people. That is a very there is such a depth of diversity to that, linguistically, culturally, ethnically, and it would be massively disrespectful to be dismissive about that. Sorry, continent, my bad. Sorry, I did the American thing and called Africa a country, didn't I? Sorry. The entire point I've made has been disqualified now. But anyway, you know, and it's like there's little aspects to this. Like you can't look at that talent lineup and basically say, oh, everyone there is white. I mean, first of all, the guy hasn't counted. You know, you've got Blair, who is Asian. You've got James, who's dual heritage. You've got Efren, the Observer, who's Asian. You've got Alex Richardson, Machine. Obviously, he's dual heritage as well. DDK. Kapadia is an Indian name, if memory serves me correctly. DDK has lived in Africa for a long time. I'm sure he would, you know, take exception to being dismissed in this fashion. Yanko is Serbian. Maniac is Swiss. They might have white skin. They are not the same. They are not the same historically, they're not the same culturally, they're not the same ethnically, they're not the same linguistically. You have to stop doing this to people because this is how Americans think about the world. This has got to stop, guys, because I get it, it's a sausage fest, all right, but you cannot say this is all like, we're all white and we're all the same here. That is not true at all. And it needs to be said, because we increasingly let this topic slither into the room and we don't challenge it when it's there. And you end up, and, you know, talk about being disrespectful to people's heritage. You end up being dismissive of people like Alex and his relation. You know, he's talked about it. He's talked about being racially bullied at school. And then you're just going, well, he's white, isn't he? He's white. How outrageous. How outrageous is that? To make assumptions. And I won't have that. I won't have that at all. Like, when you're a host, you're a leader, and you stand up for your crew. And as I said, these are all my family and all my friends. And I'm not having people being impugned along racial lines and having their stories and their life stories reduced to a fucking talking point because you want to score some clout on Twitter. You've misspoke, and you owe these people an apology if you're NIP. Because to say that everybody there is white and there's no diversity because you just go, oh, well, James Bardolph's there. You know, treating him it's just awful, guys, like, to think like this. And it's got no place in what's great about esports. Esports, for me, the reason I've always loved it and always gravitated towards it is it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can find people that like the same thing, and we can check the bullshit at the door if we want to. and we can all get along and have a good time. And I've met people from backgrounds I would never have conceivably met had I just been another council estate kid in a mining town. I would never have met people of different sexualities, would never have met people from different parts of the world, that just wasn't where I grew up. Esports gave me an enrichment in my life, and I'm eternally grateful for it. It's made me a better person. It's made me have broad horizons. It's made me realize that when you do reductive things like judge a book by its cover, you are perpetrating a type of... It's an offense. Because people are three-dimensional and complex, and everything we do on the internet is about reducing people to, like, basic labels. And that's not what people are. It's not who we are. I'm genuinely shocked at that. But I think, again, I think there are women that could have been in the crew, obviously. And that goes without saying, because 90% of the calendar we work with those women, it's like they're there. So I remember when they did this in 2015 as well, and I didn't like it then. We came out of Cluj-Napoca. We'd worked a real hard event in real difficult circumstances. Talent nearly went on strike. There was so much camaraderie at that event, so people probably don't know, well, maybe they do know this story. Everyone loved Moses so much, we all took like pay cuts to get Moses to the event. DreamHack said there was no budget, so people said, fuck it, take it out of our money. Semler and Anders were the driving force of that, but everyone agreed. Henry, Sado, all the boys. We've done things like that for Yanko as well. Because it is a family. It's a fucked up family. We're all mentally ill. It's a fucked up family of like lunatics, but it's a family, And we had so much camaraderie coming out that event, and I thought it was one of the best majors. I think at that time it might even conceivably have been the best major. Cool storylines, great broadcast, loads of talent. Scoots, Fiflaren, Natu there. Just so many legends in the game. Red Eye, obviously, as well. Miss him. And we got out of the event, and there was a Swedish article, and it said, 32 teams from all over the world, 10,000 people watching, or 1 million people watching online, 20 broadcasters, all men. And that was the headline. It was like, all men was the headline. And I was like, man, it just sucked. It was just like a kick. It was just like a fucking kick in the balls, right? Because we'd done a good job. Did we not entertain people? Did we not have fun? Did we not bring the event to life? I don't want to throw like a fucking Meninist pity party. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, it's like, if we accept the premise that there are talented women and we work with them regularly and we see them regularly, there's no broad conspiracy to keep people out. We've made huge strides. There are women that are great at what they do and would easily add to an event of this size and stature. And there are men that are great at what they do and add to an event of this size and stature. I don't want to play silly political points. I don't even see what race has got to do with any of this. It's really offensive. I can't name names, obviously, but when I've talked to people from different ethnic backgrounds to me, and the way they are talked about online, and the way their race and ethnicity is talked about online, by and large, they find it really offensive. They find it really offensive that it's the first thing out of people's mouths. Well-meaning people, sure, but the same. They don't, again, that's just what people have said to me privately, but you have to roll with it. This isn't what esports has to be, man. Like, it can just be a cool space for everybody where we don't have to deal with that nonsense and all of the labels and all of the name calling and pick a side. The side is esports, guys. We've already picked a side. It's why we're here. We're all on the same side. It's stupid. I just wish it hadn't have gone down the way it went down. I'm not going to chew up that Jonas guy. As like I say, he means well. He wants to see those people that we all care about succeed. He wants to see them have opportunities. The only angle he's coming from that's wrong is that this, we're conspiring to not give them those opportunities, when it's just not like that at all. Literally, how it works for a broadcast is, do you want to work this broadcast? Okay. Half the time, you don't even know who else is getting hired. I didn't. I had an inkling for some of the names. Some surprised me. So, yeah, look, I get it. I understand that people want to fight the good fight, but I think people have just been a bit silly here in a desire to do good. And we've created an impossible situation now. Because, for all we know, maybe PGL were in talks with somebody and it hasn't been agreed yet. Or, maybe somebody else was going to come in later. Or, maybe, it was like, now it's going to look terrible. It's going to look like their hand was forced. And that's not a good feeling for anyone. It's not a good situation to be in. But look, I want to dwell on positivity, because that's what we really need in CS and what we really need for the major. And far be it from me to be the fucking arbiter of positivity when 99 times out of 100 I'm swinging the scythe. But like I say, overall, this is a pivotal moment in CSGO, not just because of the importance of the event, but the talent that are going to be there, the legacy talent that's going to be there. People are going to be moving on, doing different things. People are going to be moving on to other games. One of the things that I saw as well, there were people criticizing DDK being in it. Well, he's Valorant now. We never got to say goodbye to Dan. Stellar contributor to CS. Think of all the things that he's done. And unfortunately, because of, what happened with COVID, we didn't really get a sort of clear and coherent farewell, did we? Because he was at that flashpoint, and then I think they had a COVID incident, and some people didn't get in the studio. Dan's obviously doing really well in Valorant. He's one of the top casters there. He was always going to be. He's got a great partnership. And, I wish him all the best. Love to see him fucking roll it back one time, though, right? Love to hear him and James do it in front of a crowd again one more time, right? We all feel good about that, don't we? There's this weird attitude where I think if you haven't done it for 2 years, they think you shouldn't do it ever again. All the people who aren't there are going to get their time, and the future belongs to them. And all the boomers like me, we're going to fade into the obscurity that we all fear. It's the nature of things. It's the nature of the entertainment business. I'll be smoking a pipe and lecturing people about esports and journalism, and the world will keep turning. But I don't want this major to be mired in fucking controversy. We're like 3 weeks out. Esports has suffered enough. We've got the TI stuff going on, and this pandemic just fucking drags, and we're going to, I think, it's going to be a great event. Like, I believe it. I believe in it. And I just want everyone to get on board. But don't go and attack Jonas. Don't do that. Don't turn this into a battleground, because everyone's got their ideas about what's good and what's proper and what works and how we can make esports better. And we're not always in alignment. But our biggest flaw as a fucking species is we think every problem can be solved with a nice, neat, elegant solution. And life ain't like that. And humanity definitely ain't like that. And we need to stop trying to do that. We can't just keep drawing battle lines and standing on one side shouting at the other. Or we're gonna fuck this whole thing up. Don't be those guys. He made a point. I disagree with it. I think some of it is outrageous, and I think the savvy thing for him to do would be to apologize, because you can't really denigrate people's backgrounds by pretending they're not real because you looked at a photo and gone, well, you're white. And I'm sure he sets himself a higher standard than that too. So, I know, man. Those are my thoughts. I'm pretty pleased overall with the way that it went and the reaction it got. And I think, we all want to, from talking to the talent and all that, we all want to just fucking roll it back. We just want to make it the most hyped shit, like, of all time. We want all of those moments back. Fuck, man. Like, I'm hyped about Sadakis coming back. You know, out of all of the casters, well, fuck, man, when Sadikis pops off, like, I don't think esports gets much better than that. And listen, again, no, you see, you're doing this thing. You're doing it. You guys are doing it. Talk about the Pansy tweet. Pansy's entitled to her opinion. She's earned the right to a fucking opinion, guys. I would have loved to have seen Pansy at the event. Again, another name. I'd hire everybody, you know? I'm trying to explain, right? All of these people are entitled to the opinion. They've earned the right to the opinion. It doesn't matter whether or not I agree with it. They've earned the right to the opinion. But anyway, yeah, you know, I'm hyped about it. I think it's going to be a great event. I think everybody there's committed to doing their best. Maybe in future we should stop doing talent announcements. It's ridiculous that the people who work the event overshadow the teams that qualify for the event, in a way. I always felt it's been that way in CSGO. Or, you know, just the fact that it's an event in and of itself. It seems really weird. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I'm going to get one more chance to contribute to CS. And I thought the RMR I did, the North American RMR I did at the summit was a lot of fun. And obviously it was online. We weren't in the studio and we fucking made it work. But I'm looking forward to doing, you know, a real event. An event in a studio, an event with the tactile aspects of what you do at an event. And I just think everyone should be happy, man. Like, the major's in sight. I don't know. Kind of all a bit weird. Strange day. To wrap this up in a bow, because it was only meant to be a short stream, I would really, really like the community to just come together on this event, this hallowed event. Let's all just get behind it. And let's not snipe at each other. And let's just be, you know, everything everyone is saying is right. Okay? It's all right. It's right. I don't deserve it. I know. Listen, to all my haters, you're right. You are right. I should not be hosting this major, right? But I am. And I'm going to do my best. Okay? I'm not even going to clap back at you or say you're not entitled to your opinion or you're a moron. That can wait for another day. You're entitled to your opinion. I respect it. I agree with you. Could we have hired different people? Abso-fucking-lutely. CS especially is chock-a-block with unbelievable talent. And fuck reducing them and pigeonholing them and all that bullshit that these idiots want to do to create frictions where there don't need to be frictions. You could have drafted, I'd probably say, another entire lineup with the talent we've got to draw from. And it would be just as good, and it would be just as sick a major. That's the blessing that we've got. And all of those guys, by the way, they're not, I think most of them, at least, I don't think they're going to be bitter. I think they're going to be watching, and they'll be with you, and they'll be enjoying it, and they'll get their, you know, they'll have their time. And don't make it an us and them thing. Don't say you shouldn't be here and it should be these guys over here. Don't create that friction. We all love each other. We all want to work with each other. We all want to have a good scene. Just, you know, you can reframe it. If someone doesn't get hired, you don't have to say, you should be there instead of this guy. You could say, it sucks that you're not there. I really like your work, but I know you're going to get there. And just give someone a little attaboy. Sometimes that's what people need, you know. And that's all it needs. So, yeah, just, we're going to roll it back, the old boys. We're going to try. The boomers are going to try. And we're going to try for all of you guys. We want to make it a great event. And obviously all the people who aren't there would have made it a great event too. And would have given it their best. And I've seen moments where the CS community, you know, we do come together and we do sort of look after our own and we don't act like dickheads. We're not like other esports. I just want this to be one of those times. Don't attack someone for saying maybe there should have been more women in the broadcast. Maybe there should have been. Maybe there is somebody that's been overlooked. As I said, had it been me, Had I not been there and it had been Freya or Shox or Frankie, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid. I wouldn't have batted an eyelid. I wouldn't have felt aggrieved. I wouldn't have felt left out. I wouldn't have felt fucking discriminated against. And I certainly wouldn't have thought they were only being hired because of their gender, because they're phenomenally fucking talented individuals, all of which can carry a broadcast with their incredible skill set, which in areas beats my own. It's okay to acknowledge this. No one has to be upset over it. So, yeah, CS, eh? Thanks so much, guys. Let's all look forward to a great event, and let's all support each other. All right, much love. Thanks for dropping by. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. Take care.